Don't cry yet, I haven't started. Okay, before we start, Miss Rigos, relax. Mr. Gomez, you were engaged to be married to Miss Rigos' mother. Is that right?
That's true, yes.
Lived together for a while?
Yes, we were.
And
About
unfortunately,
4 years.
Unfortunately, she died very suddenly and at a young age. She was 52, according to your complaint. The plaintiff is her daughter, and she says that there's certain property of her mother's that she wants that's in your possession. Is that what this case is about?
Yes.
And $5,000, I understand. And $5,000?
Not in $5,000.
I'm not interested in the money, Your Honor.
No, she says she just wants the property back. That was her mother's. Ms. Rigos, I read Mr. Gomez's answer to your complaint, and I must tell you that based upon his answer, I haven't spoken to him yet, he seems like a very nice man.
I don't doubt that.
And my sense from reading his answer is that he loved your mother very much.
I did, very much, yes.
What are these things that you want of your mother's?
Well, in the beginning, it was mainly just, you know, certain momentums that been in the family a long time.
He gave you back most of the things, or many of the things that were your mother's.
He came over, he didn't give me personally, he came over to my brother's house a month and a half ago, and it was just a couple of boxes with her shoes, 2 bags of clothes, which is not even a hole in the closet with my mom, because she loved clothes. And old pictures that my mother had from when we were young in our old country in Europe and Michigan when we were growing up. That's it.
What's the old country?
In Malta.
So he gave you back the mementos, those photographs and things that were irreplaceable.
He gave me those, yes. Well, he gave them to my brother.
You're the brother.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. So tell me what things you want that are your mom's.
There's just certain other things, pictures.
Tell me so that he'll know, and maybe we won't have a problem.
Well, my brother has 4 children. I have 2. And there's just certain things there that, you know, pictures, things that my kids bought, you know, their grandma, you know, for birthdays, Mother's Day.
Like what? Tell me. Because he has to know what things.
My mother was infatuated by clothes. She was a very short woman, and she loved clothes and shoes. That's what we bought her. We bought her lots of clothes, lots of shoes. Come birthday, Mother's Day, Christmas. There's certain things that my son has there that Jose has had there. It'll be 5 years this Christmas, which is a little Harley motorcycle that my sister-in-law bought my son. And my mother wanted to stay there for a couple months, and it lasted there all these years. And my son called him in April and asked him if he could get it. And there's just other things that are there that are mine. You know, my sewing machine, which he had brought over after he got served, you know.
So he brought you back the sewing machine?
The sewing machine. He didn't bring me the plug, so I have no use for it right now. But he just brought the sewing machine over after he got served. But he told my son in April, tell your mother that I sold her things to pay the bills. And I couldn't understand that. I couldn't even understand why he would tell a little 10-year-old that. You know, he has not gotten a hold of me, you know, and he won't talk to me. You know, I've tried talking with him. We had a great relationship, me, him, and my mother. Anytime there was problems with them, you know, I was there. I was the mediator.
Okay, Mr. Gomez.
Well, first of all, the reason why I didn't talk to her, she had an unlisted telephone number, so I couldn't get it. And she wouldn't give me the number, so I couldn't do that. And the only thing that I feel I'm guilty of is loving her mother. I love my Carmen tremendously. She loved me 10 times more than I loved her.
It says here in the papers that you lent her money to start a business.
Yes, I did.
Some kind of beauty?
It was a facial business. She wanted, see, as far as money is concerned, I had no problem with that, especially with her. When after a year that I met her, her mother died in Malta. She had no way to get there. So it cost me about $2,000 I sent her over there because she was heartbroken. I mean, just here's her mother. She loved her mother dearly, and she had no way to get there.
So you gave her the money to
I gave her the money. I didn't ask for it back.
Okay.
And then when she came back, she asked me that, I told her to come back and we'll live together, and she asked me if I could help her start a business. I said, what's it going to be? So she told me, I said, fine. So I went up to, I borrowed the money from our savings. I said to her, we were going to get married, so I said, well, I'd like for you to pay it back, and I was also paying into it, paying 3 times more than she was in a month. And I said, because it's for our retirement. And she said, it's fine. This is all it's going to be for. That's why I wanted her to pay back while we could.
Was she working at the time, too?
She was doing, yes, a little bit. She was working somewhat. I never kept track of what she made or anything like that.
Okay. So
I have a log that says that she was paying me, too. She's paying, every month
towards the equipment.
for the equipment.
And you ultimately sold the equipment
I
according to
sold
your
it for what
papers
I
at a
could give,
loss.
which was, yes. When you sell things out of a garage, they don't give you anything for it. Found that out.
So how much did you lose
About-
dollar-wise?
How much did I lose? About 3,000 or something.
That's
like
what
that.
it said here, that the
Just on
equipment
that
was
one.
6,000, you'd paid
After
about
I made that,
3,000
yeah.
off. You have any reason to doubt that?
No, we didn't mess with it with my mother's equipment. We know
Okay.
that he had signed for it, but she was paying him every month.
Okay. And it also says here, Mr. Gomez, that you and the plaintiff and another brother split the cost for the funeral expenses.
That's
Is
true.
that right?
Yes, it is.
Is that true? You know, technically, by law, Mr. Gomez has no responsibility to contribute to those funeral expenses. You know that. I assume he did it because he loved your mother. What I'm trying to tell you is, from his answer, it doesn't sound as if he's a bad guy. Would you agree with that, too?
I have an opinion, but I don't know if it counts. It's just that even though he put
Stand up.
in his share into the business with my mom, she has done her part. Contribution towards the home that they lived in, contribution towards the business she built.
Well, just a second. What he's saying is he took out a loan for the equipment.
Yes, I understand that,
And
but
that
the loan
he-
came from her too.
I know, but so much of it hadn't been paid back that he's now responsible.
We haven't
for-
seen that. We don't know what that is.
I believe that that's true, sir. I believe that that's true. It's my job to determine whether somebody is a credible witness. Yes, sir.
One more question I have. If he would have, many times as I try to meet with him, breakfast, meetings and whatever, if he would have just brought out the paperwork, I didn't want him to go alone on this. The same way I accepted him to help me in the funeral, the same way I accepted his beliefs, what my mom wanted for her funeral. The same thing I did everything for the picture when he took it out of my house on the evening when we had family
When
in
we were
my
mourning
house.
for my mother?
That is the only picture I had in front of the flowers to show the people that who she was. He had to take it the same night. It's just, and I was nice. I let him go with it. I mean, there was.
You
a
mean
lot
this
of,
was his
Yes.
photo? Just a second. This was his photograph of your mother.
This is mine.
Just a second. This was his photograph of your mother.
Yes, but it's our frame.
I know.
You weren't interested in the frame. You were interested
Actually,
in the
we are,
photograph.
Your Honor. We are. That's a momentum that's been going on through our family.
He'll give you back the
I
frame
know.
if it's your frame. What you were upset about, what your brother says you were upset about, was the photograph. So you had the photograph
It's
displayed.
the way he did it, Your Honor.
Listen to me.
In
You had
front of
the,
all my family.
you had the
Grabbed
photo.
it by the hand and walked out like no respect. Didn't even come to ask.
Let me tell you something, sir.
Don't you think I hurt too?
Well, I do. I do. I think that you all have to understand that when somebody dies, everybody feels sad. I thought about this a lot over the last 20 years, whenever I've had family, friends, and in my own life. Losing somebody that you love very much, especially when they're very young. Parent, a mate. Anger is a much easier emotion to deal with than pain. I want you to think about that for a minute. It's much easier when somebody dies to be angry at somebody else than to get in touch with your own feeling and feel the pain and the loss, which is why after somebody dies, it's so often in families, they fight with each other over stupid things, a pair of shoes, a dress, because it's much easier when you, especially if your mom was 52 years old and she died totally unexpectedly, to be angry. Why did this happen? So you get angry at somebody. I think you look like lovely people. I think he's a lovely man who took on a responsibility even when he didn't have to. He clearly loved your mother, and he made her happy.
Yes,
He made. I mean, they were going to get married, so he made her happy. So, are you prepared to give them back the things that they want?
Yes, what the little motorcycle she can buy. If
No, I have a
if
list
that's
here.
what's happened,
I
then
want all
they
my
can
mother's
have the.
things.
Just a second. Well, let me have this. I'm not sure
I want
whether
everything
you're.
she went in with. I mean, in the beginning, you know, I abide by his wishes. We all did. He said, give me a couple months. I don't want to part with your mother's things. We abide by it.
No, listen to me.
He wanted half of my mother's ashes,
with
which is immoral.
Listen to me. You lived with her for 4 years?
Yes, I did.
No.
How long?
Approximately 4 years.
How long?
Lived together,
Yes.
a little over 2.5 years.
Okay, and you had a
No,
home
more than
together.
that.
Is that right?
Yes, we did.
You have things in your like kitchen, toaster oven, and a dinette set. Why would you think a white hutch from the dining room? Why?
That
in the
hutch
world-
was my son's. And I feel that,
How could a hutch be your son's?
no, it was a desk. It was a brown desk with what it's called a hutch.
Yeah.
And my brother is a painter. He went over there. He made it look nice for her in her kitchen. He painted it white. She.
When was this?
This was just before she passed away.
No, he didn't go to her house. That was their home.
I went to her house to paint it.
Not her home, their home.
I see. I understand.
Yeah, in the
Their
garage.
home. They lived together. They had a
understand.
home together. They were engaged. They were planning to be married.
Yes.
Stop with the nonsense, folks. You want to take out furniture from a home that your mother set up with this man? That's outrageous. He was not a bad person. He cared for her.
We didn't say he
I
was,
can
right?
understand you saying to me, I want the things that belong to my mother, the photographs, my mother had perfume, you have here. She had knickknacks in the hutch. I don't know what that is. Do you know what that is, sir? The
No.
knickknacks that are in the hutch?
No.
What knickknacks that are in the hutch?
China's, a little plate, anything from that belongs to my mom. What's
It's
the
not
reason
worth
for him to
anything.
keep
It's
it?
just, it's you know, it's hers.
The
We
way
got
I
it for
feel,
her.
he's gonna go on with his life. He has no reason. He remembered my mom for 7 months so far. He has to continue with his life and go on with a new future.
Sir,
But we
this
have
is-
to remember what we have by holding what we got.
Fine. Sir, I'm going to tell you what I expect you to turn over to them. I've looked at this list. There are pictures and frames of grandchildren and family. I expect you to turn that over to them. Okay?
Yes.
You have those things?
I have the pictures, the frames that I paid for the frames, so I took them out of the frames.
You paid
I
for
have
the green
pic-
frames that are in the bedroom?
Yes.
I bought
we-
I bought those with my mother in Target.
There was a lot
Listen,
of
the
green
rainbow.
frames.
Listen
I'm
to
talking
me.
about the rainbow
Listen to me.
pictures.
The frames are
It's
not
only
important.
$3.
I
The
don't want the
frames are not
frames.
important.
They're not
the
important.
pictures
The
are
pictures.
important.
That's
You
right,
want
I
to
have
give
the
them back
pictures.
in the frames, that's fine.
Yes.
Okay? So that you're going to give back. Now, do you have this motorcycle model?
I will give that back. I have it. The only reason why I'm keeping it is I thought that her mother gave it to me because at one time that on Christmas, we had a little spat. So she said, don't buy me anything for Christmas. And knowing her, she knew that I would not accept anything from her. So she said, I've got this motorcycle, it's Johnny's, and I'm going to leave it here. And I was under the impression that it's the only way she knew I was going to keep it. It was there.
Okay.
Now, if
You're
it's
gonna-
not for me, then I do not want it.
Fine.
period.
Then I want you to give it back to them. That's
Wonderful.
listen. These knickknacks in the hutch that she's talking about, you know, these little plates and dishes and things that she brought into your relationship. Do you know what they are?
I don't really. It's been a while, and I'm not sure as to which. You know, what
I
they're
want you to
talking
look
about.
through it.
I'll look through 'em.
Whatever you see there, pack up nicely that belongs, that she had, that were from her history. I
Right.
want you to pack up and see to it that her children get. Will
We'll
you do that?
I'll do that.
Did you bring any of these things with you to court, sir?
Yes, I did. I brought.
Okay. Did you bring the clothes and other things?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and they're all here.
Yes, I left
Okay.
them there someplace.
And you're prepared to
I
take
brought
them?
back more pictures too.
And you're prepared to take
large
them today?
box of that.
Okay. So this is not a very difficult case. It's going to give you back those things.
What about my dish set? I want my dish set and my plug to my sewing machine.
It's in the box.
The dish set is?
I didn't know it was there. I saw it and I said, "Oh, this goes to the sewing machine."
Ms. Rigos, you still sound very angry.
I am. I
Well,
am.
I'm going to tell you something. I don't think that you should be angry. I really don't. I mean, your mother stayed in this relationship. You may have thought it wasn't perfect. I don't know whether you thought it was perfect or it wasn't perfect. But she was a 52-year-old young lady who may have visited with her children, but her day-to-day life was with this man.
And that's what she said.
For better, for worse, they were a couple. And you should be happy that your mother, from the time she was 48 or whatever she was, I don't know, was she divorced from your father or did he pass away?
Divorced a long time
21
ago.
years.
21 years divorced until she met him?
Yes.
Well, there was
He
others.
sounds like a nice guy to me.
I have no.
So I don't know, Ms. Rigos, why you're angry, unless it's what I'm thinking and what I said to you before, that anger is a much easier emotion to deal with than pain. She didn't have a love in her life for 21 years. She met this man, they started a business together, they planned a wedding, or he helped her with a business, they planned a wedding, they planned to get married, so that your mother must have felt at least she had a companion of her own. Stop being so angry. Get in touch with your own feelings. If it's sadness, get over it. You return the things to her, sir?
Yes, I will.
You sound like a nice guy. She wants the picture frame.
The only thing I would like to keep this, but, and as I told Mario that this is what she gave me. She had this on the back of it. She says, I gave you this picture.
Who?
You can keep the picture.
Carmen.
Oh, let me see
She
that.
gave me, when
Just a minute. You mean Carmen gave you that picture in the frame?
she gave me this whole thing. And the way I see
Let me
it, I don't
see.
see it as
Let
a
me
frame.
see.
I see it just as
Just
a
a
picture,
second.
whatever. She had that on there, and she just
a
says,
second.
I gave you that.
Just a minute.
It was stuck in the back of here.
Just a second.
That's the way she writes. She's
Am
only
I
had a
correct?
5th grade education. That's
Am
all.
I correct? He didn't bring over this picture when your mother died. He brought over the whole thing, the picture with the frame.
Yes.
He
For the
brought that
funeral,
over.
yes, he brought it
He
over.
That's
brought
what I
that
took
over.
over there, exactly.
That's his, not yours.
That's mine.
That's his. And you keep it, sir.
Thank you very
You've
much.
got to get over your anger.
This means very,
Pretty lady.
very, very much to me.
Pretty lady. Okay.
Thank you.
Give me back the...
Jack Judy, this is not about case, it's about memories. A daughter fight for her late mother's beguilings and emotion explode.
Well, this is a rather interesting complaint. Mr. Iarussi, according to your complaint, you became involved with the defendant's campaign when he decided to run for mayor of New York City. And I gather from your papers and from his response that he decided to run for mayor because he had developed a certain celebrity, because the character of Kramer from that wonderful Seinfeld program was fashioned after him. Is that right, sir?
This is a fact, Your Honor.
You're much better looking.
Thank you.
So you became involved with this fiasco because
Your Honor.
even I'm sure Mr. Kramer over here knew that it was a fiasco.
I don't think so, Your Honor.
Well, listen.
That was a serious intent at the time I began this campaign.
Mr. Kramer, New York City is an interesting place. And I've lived in New York most of my adult life. And having seen you, sir, and having watched your character for many, many years, I will tell you that you're an interesting character, but I wouldn't let you run a city. We've had that already in New York. So, you became involved in this fiasco
Yes, Your Honor.
that I assume you believe you're an intelligent human being,
I believe so, most of the time.
and you are a New Yorker.
Yeah, a New Yorker.
So, as a New Yorker, you're supposed to have a certain amount of common sense, know where it's at, know what's real, know what's not real, know when it's raining, know when it's somebody else is doing something on your leg. You're supposed to know all those things, right?
Well, I did live in Texas
beca-
for 8 years.
So you became involved with this thing sort of
Yes.
on a lark.
Something like that. Yes.
How many signatures, sir?
7,500.
How many did you get?
We got over 7,500.
Did you pay anybody else for getting signatures?
No, Your Honor.
Then you decided, enough of this foolishness and I'm throwing in the towel.
It became a lot of work.
Yeah. What kind of work do you usually do?
I run a reality tour, a Kramer's reality tour, my show for Seinfeld fans. It's a multimedia romp through the world of Seinfeld, and I have a stage show based on it. And so basically I travel around the country, and I run this tour in New York City every weekend. And that's what I've been doing for a livelihood.
But what are you going to do when Seinfeld goes off the air? You're going to have to get a real job, Mr. Kramer.
I doubt it very much because, you know, there's only 39 Honeymooner episodes, and that's still here. So Seinfeld will finish with 177. It's part of the world's cultural landscape.
Mr. Kramer, what did you do before Jerry Seinfeld made you an icon?
You know, managed to live through my own entrepreneurial ways. I did stand-up comedy for a number of years. I invented electronic jewelry. I managed a rock reggae band. I had everything to avoid actual work, I might add.
I'm glad you added that. Tell me how he promised to pay you.
Well, let's go back a little and how we actually met at a conference sometime in 1997, and I was putting together some articles, and I had wanted to do an article on Kramer for some Far Eastern magazines. So anyway, Kramer, I went on the reality tour, and I have to admit it's a great tour, and I enjoyed it and had a lot of fun. And so right after that, I started putting some articles together on Kramer, and on April 22nd, I had gotten a letter inviting me to share a moment of history with the real Kramer at 6 p.m. at the Cafe St. Francis. So I went there, and Kramer had about 5 or 10 people there, and they talked about his intention to run for mayor, and people got picked for various positions to basically run the campaign. My duties were to get people to volunteer for the campaign and anything I can do along that line, and also go out and get signatures myself.
And you got enough nutty New Yorkers who came
I got a
up.
lot of signatures. I think I'm the best there is in signatures
Good.
getting, and Kramer will attest to that.
You got a lot. He says you got a lot of signatures, a lot of good-looking women, a lot of signatures you couldn't use because they weren't citizens, but they were good-looking.
So anyway, there was a time in the campaign where I was putting in a lot of time, so I had talked to the treasurer about not being able to do this because it was too time-consuming and needed to work something out. And he says, well, let me throw some money your way, and we'll have some money coming in, and I could offer what's a standard rate for signatures, and it's pretty much 50 cents a signature in New York if you do that. Go out and get signatures. So I agreed to that with him, and went.
Where is he?
He couldn't be here today, Your Honor.
Well, you didn't bring him here. You can't tell me what he said to you. You can't tell me that he agreed.
I couldn't get in touch with him.
Well, that's not my problem, sir. That's your problem.
So
You
anyway.
tell me what conversations you had with the defendant.
So Kenny and I had some conversations after that, and after the campaign was over, Kenny decided to back out of the campaign and not go any further. We both had other work and went different ways, and Kenny started traveling a little, and he was really out of pocket. And I had some things coming up where I figured, well, then if there isn't money in the campaign, or I'm not able to get in touch with his campaign treasurer, maybe he could do some appearances for me. And he agreed he would do an appearance for fundraising. But he was also very busy, and I did keep trying to reach him. And there was never an anger about this. It's just that I kept trying
so when did you get angry, Mr. Irizuli?
Well, I never got angry. I think he's a wonderful person and a good human being. I just think he owes me the money.
Well, just a second. Well, when did you decide that you wanted the money?
About a month ago.
I have a couple of questions for you. Did you ever have a direct conversation with Mr. Kramer wherein Mr. Kramer said that he was going to pay you for working on his campaign?
No, I did not. I did not.
So is there any other person here that you had a direct conversation with who was attached to his campaign?
Well, I talked to John Seminary.
Shh.
Yes.
You didn't hear my question.
Go ahead.
Is there another person here who was attached to his campaign who you had a conversation with about payment of 50 cents each for the signatures that you gathered?
Yes.
And who was that?
John Seminary.
Where is he?
He's seated to the left of Kramer.
Step up here, sir.
I was Kenny's campaign manager from the whole time before that meeting began. We had hoped the campaign would be a little more successful. What we had thought would be, we had hats and pins and bumper stickers and T-shirts made, and we hoped that those funds would be able to kick off the campaign as far as the fundraising goes. And that never materialized. We had felt that the mayor
People in New York aren't that stupid.
Well, no, we had felt that the
Could you
mayor
answer my question? Could you answer my question for me? I mean, you know, I mean, this is not a catharsis for you, sir.
No, it's not.
Did
but,
you
know,
ever,
No.
as campaign man?
No,
How come you always anticipate? It's like, I feel like Johnny Carson and Karnak. They answer my question before I ask the question. Listen to me. Did you ever tell the plaintiff that he was going to be paid for gathering signatures?
Yes, we had spoken. And
About what?
About some money for out-of-pocket expenses because people were traveling on the subway by themselves.
Right. I can
There were
understand
times,
that.
and I know there was a rainstorm, and I was caught with a bunch of people, and I went for a few rounds, you know. So
Rounds,
there were.
what does that mean, a few rounds?
Well, I paid for a few beers and some.
I gather you had a conversation with him wherein it was discussed that you had certain expenses and what were you going to do about it, if anything. And he said, we'll try to take care of some of your expenses, and if we can't, we'll try to work out some other way to make you happy. Is that about it?
Yeah, that's about
How
it.
does that translate into 50 cents a signature?
No, that translated into a money amount where we also talked about a personal appearance where I
Just
would
a
do.
second. Was there any time frame with regard to this personal appearance?
I emailed Kramer on July 10th, and he responded saying, let me know the date and time.
So did you tell him? Did you give him a date and time?
I did, but he was, well, no.
Just a second.
No, not a definite one because he was out of town.
So did you give him a date when you wanted him to appear and give him sufficient time so that he wasn't doing all this traveling so he could appear for you? The answer is either yes or no.
Yes.
And when was that?
July 10th, 1997.
Do you remember receiving that email?
I may have, Your Honor, but as Mr. Ruzzi said, I had been traveling a great deal. But, you know, one thing I'd like to make clear now, the dispute that he claims is about these signatures. But I'd like to just enter into evidence, if I may, some of these sheets of signatures.
Listen to me. You don't have to bother, because I find that there was no agreement with regard to payment for signatures.
Well, even if there was, the signatures are totally invalid. There are 15 signatures on our page. Every one of them is women. He's just
What's
signed,
wrong with women?
Well, and many of them from illegible. You can't read signatures. You can't, you know. So the point is, if you're paying for signatures, it should be a valid signature.
Mr. Kramer, I haven't heard any testimony that is in any way persuasive that there was a contract, an employment contract, even if it was as an independent contractor, for him to be paid for those signatures. What I have heard is, and what I tend to believe, is that he was supposed to be in some way compensated for all the hard work that he did. There was never a fixed amount, but that you did, in fact, assure him that you would make a personal appearance for him at one of his fundraisers.
That is
Now,
true.
isn't that true?
That is true, Your Honor.
And all I'm trying to find out is whether you welched on that agreement.
And I'm available to make a personal appearance at at any time
When?
and date that I'm available for.
Well, then this is perfect. We have a fine resolution to this case. Sir, I find that there was no contractual arrangement between you and the defendant to pay you for the signatures. However, I do find that he did agree, either through himself or through his manager, to compensate you for some out-of-pocket expenses, and you agreed to take the services of Mr. Kramer in compensation or in lieu of the dollar amount, and Mr. Kramer has indicated that he is prepared to follow through with that. So it's been a pleasure meeting you. I wish you continued success. Your case is dismissed.
One judge Judy, a mother's credit card theft case against her son is dismissed for lack of proof.
Mrs. Woods, your complaint is pretty distressing
Yes, it is.
because you claim that your son stole your bank card,
That's correct.
withdrew money.
Yes.
So I must assume that you've had some frustrations with him in the past to even suggest that he would do such a thing to you. And after thinking that he would do such a thing, sue him for the money. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Especially since, according to this, you don't have any direct proof that he took the money.
I have no direct proof, no eyewitness.
Well, why don't you tell me why you believe he took this money first?
I had the card on during the day on Christmas Eve. When I came into my house, I didn't put the card in my wallet. I set it on the counter in my kitchen. I live alone. My parents came over to visit that evening. They were the only other people in that house.
Was your son living with you or was he
No,
visiting?
no, he came over to visit while my parents were still there. The area of the kitchen countertop where I put that card is right near my cordless phone. During the visit, Brian took the cordless phone and went to the back of my mobile home. he went into the bathroom, he said, to use the phone because it was too noisy out in the living room. Shortly after the conversation on the phone, Brian put on the new winter coat that my mom and dad and I had bought him for Christmas, and he left. My other daughter, Amy, and her son came over to visit after Brian had left. So the only people in my house all day long, up until the point the card disappeared, were my parents, Brian, and myself.
Well, when did you first notice the card missing?
I had gone into my purse looking for the card a few days later, but...
So that your daughter did come over?
Yes.
Your daughter and who else?
Her son. He's 2.5.
Well, he didn't take the bank cards. But your daughter did come over?
Yes, she did.
And you didn't notice the bank card missing until after your daughter left?
Right. It was several days later.
Nobody else was in and out of your house between Christmas Day and the day that you finally discovered the bank card missing?
No one else.
How much money was withdrawn?
$470.
Now, where was the PIN number?
That took me a little time to figure out how that all happened. But several weeks before Christmas Eve, Brian was over visiting, and my other daughter was there, and the little boy again. And Brian brought up in the conversation, I think when I get my income tax check, I'm going to open a checking account. He started the conversation about PIN numbers. And does the bank assign one, or how do you do that? And my daughter blurted out what hers was in reference to it being the birthday of a relative. And I did the same.
Well, when you realized your bank card was missing, what did you do?
I thought I had left it in the house because my last memory of the bank card was setting it on that counter in the kitchen. So I went to the bank and cashed a check. Several days after that, one of my colleagues had come in to my office from one of our out-of-town locations, and I was going to take her to dinner. My daughter came to my office at my request. I wrote her out a check and said, please run to the bank and cash this check. I need money for dinner tonight. She came back from the bank as white as a ghost and said, Mom, you've got a problem. There's no money in your account. I called the bank to find out what the problem was, and they started to read me off withdrawal, $50 on Christmas Eve, $20 on December 29th.
Do you have a listing of those?
Yes, I do.
Let me take a look at it. And in total, it was $470?
Yes, plus accumulated bank fees.
Brian, how old are you?
19.
How long haven't you been living at home?
I lived there on and off. I've probably been out of there 3 years.
You know anything about this bank card?
No, I don't. The first I heard about it was after I had moved out of state. And it wasn't told directly to me, it was told to my sister. She told me about it, and the first thing I heard about it after that was being called, telling me that there was a lawsuit against me.
Is this the other daughter that you were talking about?
No, this is my oldest daughter. She lives in Louisiana.
Would you tell your mother if you took the bank card?
If I had taken it, yes, I would have told her. I didn't take the card. I had no reason to take it. As far as the conversation with the PIN numbers and anything, I don't recall any of that.
Where's your
and-
younger daughter?
She's at home. I didn't think her testimony was going to be at all pertinent because she really didn't eyewitness anything.
All right, so my next question, Mrs. Woods, is, now I understand your lawsuit. My question to you is, what do you hope to accomplish from this lawsuit?
I want him to own up to his responsibility. I want him to understand that living off of other people or lying to people or stealing from people is not the way to live your life. And if you've done something wrong, be a man. Stand up for it. Take the responsibility and accept the consequences.
Who do you think took her bank card and had her PIN number?
I really have no idea.
Well, it was you or your sister. That's what it comes down to, right?
Okay, well,
Unless it was your grandparents. I'm going to eliminate the grandparents. But the truth of the matter is, Miss Woods, it could have been either Brian or his sister, because both of them were in your house prior to the time that you found the bank card missing. You choose to believe, for whatever reason, that Brian was the one who took it because of his history, lifestyle, whatever, his need for money.
I also believe that he took it because of his spending shortly before he left for Louisiana, which was, he left for Louisiana on the 3rd of January, which was the exact day that $250 was withdrawn from my checking account. I have been told by Brian's friends, and whether it's admissible or not.
It isn't.
Okay.
That he spent a lot of money.
Not a lot of money, but for someone who isn't working, was evicted from his apartment for non-payment of rent, had his car impounded by the city, $10 is a lot of money.
Brian, you're 19. That's not entirely cooked and ready for adult life, but it seems to me you're living on your own. What do you want to do with yourself? Did you graduate from high school?
No, I didn't.
Why not?
I had a lot of problems in school.
What kind of problems?
I lost a lot of interest. I mean, it happens sometimes. I had problems with other kids in school. I had problems with teachers in school. And my mistake was I left school. I didn't go back.
So what do you want to do with yourself?
I've been keeping myself straight other than this, and, I've worked for what I have. I don't have much.
That's not an answer to my question, Brian. It's really not an answer to my question. You're 19 years old, you have no education, but you're living on your own. Now, you can flounder through life, but you look like an intelligent, and you sound like you're an intelligent young man who's going nowhere. I think probably that's your mother's frustration. That she's just sad because you seem to be without direction. You are without direction, I mean, just living hand to mouth, getting a job, getting a meaningless job when you're 19 and sticking with it means that you're going to spend 40 years of your life or more doing something that you're not particularly fond of. You won't make a living. You sort of aimlessly wander through life. What do you want to do?
I like to be able to afford everything I need. I like the line of work I do. When I do...
What kind of work do you do?
I worked as a construction laborer and a laborer.
But you don't do it all the time?
No.
Why not?
I was laid off from my last job due to transportation problems. I missed a lot of work. I was in the process of buying a car because the car I was driving at the time wasn't reliable. Like I said, I missed a lot of time off of work from that, and they saw it as not needing me around because they wanted somebody who was going to be there all the time. Other than that, I mean, I've held a job pretty well.
Brian, either you took this card or your sister took it. So you think your sister took it?
I know I didn't take it. I don't want to accuse her of taking it because I know there are other people in and out of her house, whether she says there are or not.
People could have taken the card, but nobody else had the PIN number, which would have given them access to the money.
I didn't have the PIN number either.
Mrs. Woods, as I said to you when we started, it's a sad situation when a parent brings a child to court, sues a child, especially a 19-year-old child, because they're hardly cooked. I mean, whatever frustrations you've had with him, and I assume even based upon what he says, you've had some frustrations with him for a long time. But this is still a court, and a court has to deal with evidence and proof. Right now, we have a situation where your credit card was missing, but there were at least 4 people who were in your home who had access to that card when you left it on the kitchen counter. You had your parents, you had Brian, and you had your younger daughter. And but for the fact that he's perhaps spent a couple of dollars during the Christmas holiday, there really is no proof that Brian, as opposed to the other people who had access to that card and access to your home, were the ones who took it. So a court can't operate under supposition. That is unfair. You understand that? So I am forced to dismiss your lawsuit against your son. Brian, I don't know whether you took this card or not. There is insufficient proof that you did. But you look like a nice young person. And you certainly are intelligent. I don't think that you are optimally using all the gifts that God gave you. Do you?
No.
So you better start because, as I said to you before, life is not a dress rehearsal. You only go around once. Okay? That's all. Thank you.
One Jack Judy, a mother, lodged against her son over a missed credit card in dismissed due to lack of evidence, leaving their relationship stranded.